Hello and hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports news, and this is all about Tfue's first public response ever since his lawsuit did come out against his own organization, that being FaZe Clan. And if you guys do remember around that time when it first did come out, it was Keemstar reporting several sources, the first of which being a pro Fortnite player, and the second of which being Tfue's very own brother, accusing him, or I guess you could say alleging, he wanted to leave FaZe Clan to create his own esports organization. Which is a pretty crazy thing to think about, but it would make sense of somewhat why this lawsuit did come out. If you guys have not seen some of our several videos about this whole instance, I do encourage you guys to watch those because it's a pretty extensive case. It goes much beyond what we talked about right here in the short amount of time. But along with that, now weeks later, in a very, I guess you could say, not too watched episode of a podcast out there, the Concrete Podcast. I will link the full episode down below for all of you guys. Although I will say it was a very interesting episode. Not too much was shared into the back half, which is a clip I'm going to show you guys here very shortly as well, about Tfue now coming forward for the first time publicly and denying the fact that he wants to start his own esports organization.
Is it true? Is it true that you want to start an esports company, or an organization?
I never said that once.
I didn't think you did either.
Yeah, no. Anybody knows me, I was like, wait, what?
Right. Like, I would think someone like you would, just want to focus on your own brand and what you're doing and nothing else, right? You wouldn't, the last thing that you would want to do, I would think, was to start a company and try to run a company.
No, hell no. I don't have time to run a company.
Right.
I'm too stupid, dude. I can't even read a contract, dude. What makes you think I can run an esports organization?
And when I was first listening to the podcast and I heard that, I was a bit surprised because I had not seen him publicly come forward about this yet. Unless you guys have heard of anything, please comment down below about that. But yes, he has now denied publicly the fact he wants to start his own esports organization, which a Fortnite pro player, along with that his own brother, said he was wanting to leave FaZe Clan for those reasonings. And it makes you wonder why they would want to lie about that. Why would they tell Keemstar that if that was not the truth? It did seem pretty convincing with that long message from Turner's brother as well. But on the other side of things, it does make a lot of sense. The first thing that came to my mind was the likes of Nadeshot, who had to enter retirement before even trying to start his own organization, that being 100 Thieves. If you guys have been around the channel the past week or so, we've talked about Nick Merckx leaving 100 Thieves, Courage joining, a lot of that drama and that controversy as well. But Nadeshot's a really key example because he runs an esports organization, and I would say very well, and along with that, he himself was a former pro player. But you can also see the way that Tfue talks about this, the fact he would have no time to do so. It's just sheerly true. Nadeshot and his streaming schedule has been shot to all get out. He rarely streams whatsoever now. If he does, it's the very little free time he does have, and he no longer competes competitively. On top of that, there is no way in my mind I could ever see Tfue actually being the head or actually being a notable face inside of his own organization if he still wanted to compete competitively and still wanted to stream pretty much full time. Although yes, his streams are a bit back and forth in terms of consistency, he still does stream quite a bit compared to a lot of other streamers out there. So for him to actually have the time to do so seems very, very unlikely, but still for some reason, maybe you guys as well, I was not fully convinced by his answer. Because at no time, of course, he does say that he never said that once. He never said he wanted to make his own esports organization, which is true, but he never goes out and says, no, I do not want to create my own organization. He never flat out says that no. So at one point, I do believe there's no way he would have the time to do so unless it's pretty much not even an organization ran by him. He has a bunch of management do all of the background stuff, all of the, I guess, the front work as well for him, and he's just kind of the face who streams and competes on top of all of that, which seems a bit iffy in itself. Again, who knows how these things would actually break down, and it also does make sense though the fact that he would not have time to do so in the first place. So I understand both sides. I'm just more so curious what you guys think about this. Were you convinced by Tfue's answer in denying the fact that he wants his own esports organization? And then very lastly, a clip for all of you guys also confirming some side news as well as we approach our last few weeks of the Fortnite World Cup qualifiers. Tfue, as expected on Twitter, already announced, he actually reconfirms in this podcast on top of that, will be moving back to New Jersey partially, not fully moving in with Cloaksy, but doing this for actually better ping for the remaining few weeks of the Fortnite World Cup qualifiers. So that is it. Always super curious what you guys think about this. Were you convinced by Tfue? Do you still think he wants to make his own esports organization? Do you think he'll be released by FaZe? I think it's pretty substantially claimed right now he's not going to be a part of FaZe for much longer. Whether this lawsuit actually is taken to court or whether they settle out of court, I think he's pretty much done with FaZe Clan. The big question now remaining, will he make his own organization? I'm just super curious because he is now both denied, and apparently people close to him have said he is actually going to, but he has also denied that. And then very lastly, I guess in some side news as well, which the drama does continue around, we of course have Nick Merckx now joining FaZe Clan on top of all of this amidst the controversy. So some crazy news out there in esports this week, and as always, thank you all for subbing, thank you all for commenting and leaving likes. You guys are absolutely incredible, and I really do enjoy making videos for all of you. I'll see you back here sometime soon, more esports news, and until then, Take care.